An Evening at Alfies by Shirley Hughes. One cold winter evening, Alfie and his little sister Annie Rose were all headed for bed. Mum and Dad were all ready to go out, and Miss MacNally's Maureen was in the living room. She had come to look after Alfie and Annie Rose while Mum and Dad went to a party. Alfie and Maureen waved goodbye to them from the window. Annie Rose was already in her cot. Soon she settled down and went to sleep. Alfie liked Maureen. She always read to him a story when she came to babysit. Tonight, Alfie wanted the story about Noah and his ark full of animals. Alfie liked to hear about how the rain came drip, 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 and then splash, 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 and then rushing everywhere, until the whole world was covered with water. When Maureen had finished the story, it was time for Alfie to go to bed. She came upstairs to tuck him in. They had to be very quiet and talk in whispers in case they woke up Annie Rose. Maureen gave Alfie a good-night hug and went off upstairs, leaving the door open a little. Alfie didn't feel sleepy. He lay in bed looking at a patch of light on the ceiling. For a long time all was quiet, and then he heard a funny noise outside on the landing. Alfie sat up. The noise was just outside his door. Drip, drip, drip. Soon it got quicker. It changed to drip, 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 drip. It's getting louder, too. Alfie got out of bed, peeped round the door. There was a puddle on the floor. He looked up. Water was splashing into the puddle from the ceiling. Drip, 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 drip. It was inside the house. Alfie went downstairs. Maureen was doing homework in front of the television. "It's raining on the landing," Alfie told her. Alfie and Maureen went back upstairs. The puddle was getting bigger. The drip, 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 drip had turned into splash, splash, splash. Looks like a burst pipe," said Maureen. A plumber was one of the things that she wanted to be when she left school. "Better get a bucket," she said. So Alfie showed her where the bucket was kept, in the kitchen cupboard, with the brushes and the brooms. But now the water was dripping in another place. Alfie and Maureen found two of Mom's big mixing bowls and put them underneath the drips. Maureen got out the telephone to her mum. The MacNallys lived right across the street. Miss MacNally was there in a moment. Oh dear, it's ruining your mother's floor," cried Miss MacNally. "Fetch some floor cloths, Maureen." Just then Annie Rose woke up and began to cry. "Shh, shh, there," said Miss MacNally, bending over her cot. But Annie Rose looked at her and cried louder. Miss MacNally ran back to the landing. She and Maureen tried to mop up the water, but now the drips were coming from lots of different places. Splash, splash, splash. "We ought to turn off the water from the main," said Maureen, "but I don't know how to do it. I think I'd better fetch Dad." While she was gone, Miss MacNally mopped and emptied brimming bowls, and in between mopping and emptying she ran and tried to comfort Annie Rose. But Annie Rose went on crying and crying. The drips on the landing came faster and faster. Now there were a whole lot of puddles on the floor. Alfie paddled in them for a while. It was quite fun, but then the water was cold. He thought soon perhaps the whole street would be covered with water, and they'd all have to float away in a boat like Noah's Ark. Soon Maureen came coming upstairs with Mr. MacNally close behind her, wearing his bedroom slippers. "What's all this?" he said, looking at the water pouring down. Then he went downstairs and found a large sort of tap under the stairs and turned it off, just like that. "So that's where it was," said Maureen. He put his head round the bedroom door, and he and Annie were old friends. Dear, what's all this?" he said in a kind voice. The water stopped pouring down through the ceiling. Splash, splash, splash became drip, 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 and then it stopped altogether. "Oh, thank goodness for that, Miss MacNally. I'll know how to do it next time," said Maureen, but Annie Rose was still crying. Alfie went into the bedroom to see if he could cheer her up. Tears were rolling down her cheeks and soaking into her blanket. "Don't cry, Annie Rose," said Alfie, and he put his hand through the bars of her cot and patted her gently, as he's seen Mum do sometimes. Annie Rose still wore nappies at night. "Annie's wet," Alfie told everyone, "and her bed's wet, too. I expect that's why she's crying." "Why, so she is, poor little mite," said Miss MacNally. When Annie Rose was all dry and comfortable again, Miss MacNally put her on the living room sofa with Alfie and tucked a quilt round them. Then she gave them both a biscuit. Annie Rose was quite cheerful now. She got very friendly with Mr. MacNally, and he let her play a game with him, taking off his glasses and putting them on again. Then she sucked her thumb and leaned up against Alfie. Alfie leaned up against her. When Mum and Dad came home, they were both fast asleep. Next morning, Mum told Alfie not to turn on the taps until the plumber had been to mend the burst pipe. Alfie did not mind not having a wash. He had enough water the evening before to last a long time. The end.